Hey, this is Adam Knackers. I want to welcome you to another Inner Circle Hangout. I'm hanging out with two good friends of mine, Dana and Antoine, and I'll
Hey,
get to letting them introduce themselves in a second. First thing I want to say is, well, today's Hangout's going to be all about uh, an audio that Vic Strizhouse did. He is one of the top earners. In fact, I think he is the top earner in our business. He's just an incredible guy. So you're definitely gonna want to pay close attention to this one. And the theme is delete your plan B. And just so you know, we're going to refer to situations and very possibly incomes, and just understand that not all incomes are typical. We have an income disclaimer at the bottom of the page. Just click that link, and you can see a live, updated income disclosure. I'll show you all the earnings. So we're a completely transparent company. So check that out. But yeah, I want to get into introductions. My name is Adam. Like I said, I've been with Empower for more than a year, and this company has transformed my life. And that's really the biggest statement I can give, is that this is a company and a community that welcomes you with open arms and literally empowers you to reach whatever income goals, personal goals, whatever your vision is for the version of another way of life that you have. You know, set for yourself is possible with this vehicle. So I want to get into introducing our panel. We've got two great panelists. Antoine, why don't you take a couple of minutes and yeah, just introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Antoine Miller. I live in Atlanta, Georgia right now. I've been with Empower for probably 5 months, something like that. And like Adam said, it literally has changed my life, and it changed me as a person. Before this, I was a automotive technician. Um, that was my passion. Cars are still my passion, but I was pretty much a prisoner in my passion. And it's funny because I was talking to my mom the other day. I was telling her that. She was like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't even know that." Actually, I was. But Empower is it's amazing. I've never seen anything like this. The community that we have here and the support is just awesome. It's awesome to be with, and you guys are in for a treat.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on again, Antoine. Dana,
Thank you.
why don't you introduce yourself?
okay. Hey guys, can you hear me all right there?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. I'm Dana Settle. I live in Fort Worth, Texas, and I have a medical background. I've been a physical therapist for about 35 years, and I had tried a lot of different direct sales and network marketing companies through the years, and about 3 years ago is when I started looking online for something because I knew the internet was really the way everything was going, and my family, we own a screen printing and embroidery business. That's what we do for our income here at this house. And so we were looking to really expand that business, really to take it more online and have a little bit more of a presence online as opposed to just drawing from our small community here. So I was actually looking for a business online because of that. And I found several businesses, several different systems, and I was one of those shiny ball syndrome people. I bought just about everything that floated by me, and literally, I mean, it was ridiculous how much stuff I was buying. And then about a year ago, found Empower Network through a friend that I'd been in another business with, but I still kept buying shiny ball stuff. It was ridiculous. Until about 6 months ago. And I tell you what, if Empower Network's done nothing else, it's cured me from that disease. I've stopped buying all this other crap out there because there's a bunch of crap out there. And people go farther and farther and farther in debt because they keep buying other stuff. I'm telling you what, stop it right now. Focus on Empower Network. Empower Network is your vehicle. I'm just telling you right now, it is. It's the most powerful thing I've ever been involved in. It's the community, the people that I've met here. I've never met anybody like this. I've never met any, and I've been in a lot of stuff. A lot. And I've never met a group of people that are so dedicated to support you, to help you, to encourage you, to lift you up when you have bad times. I mean, the whole scenario, it's just really the perfect storm coming because we have the most fabulous company out there online, bar none. And the people, I mean, relationships. I mean, why do people get into businesses? Because of the people, really. Bottom line, it's the people. And so we have top leaders that are just they're down to earth. They put their pants on just like we do, you know. And everything that I've ever been to, the events that I've ever been to, are all about bringing everybody with them. I mean, they're not all about just, it's not about them. It's about the whole company growing. They're dedicated to everybody. So, you know, I'm in love with this. I'm in love with what we do. I'm in love with these hangouts. We get to come on and tell our story. Adam and Antoine I've gotten to know well on doing these hangouts. I went to Thailand with Adam and met his wife. I mean, I'm telling you, our community is just, it's amazing. I've never had anything like it. Sorry, Adam, I went a little long there, but I'm just pretty passionate about this.
I know, and I love it. I think that's the most powerful thing that we can share is testimonials like the one you just did. So I think what you shared was just fantastic, and I can echo your sentiments too about having been in trying so many different things, having been, you know, really allowed myself to be, you know, distracted so much by the shiny balls. So many people, you know, have this uncertainty. It's once you achieve certainty that you really know you've taken that first step, I think. You know, it's like reaching that point where, okay, you understand, you have the vehicle in place. Now what we're going to go over today is really going to tell you how to go from there. Vic is no joke. I mean, this guy made, I think, $1.3 million in his first 90 days in this business. So this is probably some stuff you're going to want to listen to. And I like how he started it off, actually, when he got into his part of the call, because this call, there were actually 3 leaders in our business that shared stuff. We're going to focus on what Vic went through. But I like how he started it, where he said, if you're heading east looking for a sunset, doesn't matter if you got the fastest car, if you got the tools, if you got, you know, everything else, it ain't going to matter. You're not, obviously, because you're going in the wrong direction. So what he's really sharing with us is foundational stuff. What did you guys think of that part of that audio, though?
I thought it was amazing, man. You know, I was flabbergasted at, you know.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he's just right on top of it. I mean, I could listen to him for hours. And I was telling these guys before this started, I remember the night that Vic did this call. I remember the exact night, because when I heard it, you know, you always hear really good calls. But this one, I'm like, oh my God, this is the best call I've ever heard. I'm just pacing in my office, listening to, I'm just hanging on every word, walking around with a notepad, taking notes. And then I've since listened to it several other times. I took more notes. I mean, you get something out of it every time, every single time. Oh, there's your notes.
Yeah, and it's cool, that line specifically, you know, don't head in the wrong direction. Make sure you have really figured out the stuff that's most important before you set off. Because so many people are like, show me that magic marketing strategy, show me these techniques, you know. But that stuff isn't nearly as relevant until you know you have the other stuff figured out. So what he says about his step 1, because he goes through 7, the first thing is to identify your why. And I know for me personally, I never took time in the beginning to do that. I was totally caught up in, show me the marketing stuff. I can remember when they said to get to the events, I'm like, all right, this must be where they're going to reveal the secrets. And so I go to these events, and I was always blown away, but I think I still hadn't caught on to that the evergreen concepts here we're talking about are really what matters, because the marketing strategies always evolve and change. But these concepts, you know, the realization that you have to get really get in touch with your why, your reasons for wanting this. So what, you know, when you guys think about that, either of you can jump in here and talk about.
Well, what I was going to say is he made an analogy about he's talking about Dave Wood, and he said, you know, the guy's a genius. He's doing kind of a Steve Jobs thing, because Apple figured out the why before they were so, you know, focused on the what and the how, and that ties right in with Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. I mean, all this stuff is so parallel. It's amazing. I'm reading Simon Sinek's book right now, Start With Why. That's a fantastic book, by the way, as a recommendation.
Yeah, it is.
And see, this is another thing that I'll throw in here. This is probably a good place to do it. In this community, we share books that we all are reading right now. There you go, buddy. There you go. Start With Why.
It's like he's got it in his holster.
I mean, seriously.
It's somewhere.
But I've never been in a group of people, of comrades that say, oh my God, I'm reading this book or I'm reading that book. Jump and get it. And we share that kind of stuff back and forth. And that's why these kind of groups are so powerful. But back to the, start with your why. Absolutely, Adam. You've got to get crystal clear. You've got to get crystal clear. And one of the things we do in this group is we write our perfect day. What is our perfect day? That really entails clarity and coming up. What is your why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Seriously. And Vic kept saying, don't tell me you're doing it because you want to make some money. It's got to go way deeper than that. It's not about the money. It's about why you are doing this. It's the whole point. It's not the what, it's not the how. That stuff's going to come. You've got to come up with your why. So, he just drove it home big time.
He did. Antoine, you want to comment on that too?
Yeah, I agree with that. In the beginning, I was literally all over the place. I was just like Adam, just show me what the heck I got to do to figure this crap out. Show me what I have to do. Show me what it takes. Okay, just like the events, I was like, okay. The thing is, I didn't second guess myself on the event. My sponsor told me that it was part of our commitments that we had to go to these events. And at the time, I was still working. I had to lie to my boss.
Oh, wow.
And tell him something else just so I could get to Chicago. And Lord God, if you knew what I had to do to get to Chicago and what we had to go through to get there. Okay?
You can tell the story if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Tell them the pain. Because you know what?
This is the perfect...
This is going to be people that relate to this, because I had some friends in Kansas who had just changed jobs, and they just flat out couldn't. They would have lost their jobs basically, and so they just flat out couldn't.
Yeah, Dana, you want to hear this, don't you? Tell me the story, Antoine.
Absolutely.
Okay, it basically started. It panned out like this. I was brainstorming like, I got to get to Chicago. What am I going to tell my boss? What am I going to tell this man? And I had about 2 weeks to figure it out. And I was thinking like, what if I do this? What if I do that? No, don't do that. And it boiled down to a family situation, which kind of was related to the situation because, I think about my family, right? But, I kind of fibbed along the lines of that too and told them, I got some family members that they're in need of some medical attention and stuff, and I got to go back to Ohio, which I'm from Ohio, but, I told them that. And then the funny thing is, when I was talking to certain people and telling them about what I had to do, I started crying. I started crying because I started realizing stuff like, man, I have to do this. I got to do this. And I ended up, meeting up with one of my buddies, Paul Gardner. Some of you probably know him. He's on another team. But I drove from Atlanta to Tennessee. And then from Tennessee, we met up with another girl, and we drove there. The car died probably at least 12 times on the way up there. I left my wallet in Tennessee. I had no money. I had no identification in Chicago. I had no form of nothing, okay? And I just had that epiphany thought halfway through the trip. I'm like, I left my wallet. What, are we going to turn around? I said, no, the hell we're not turning around. We're going to keep going to Chicago. Car kept dying. It's just like one thing after another. Everything just kept going wrong. It was like the forces of evil were against us, literally, stopping us, and we prevailed. We got there, we just putted along, literally putted along and got there. Nothing was going to stop us, but this just goes to show you determination of somebody who wants to succeed and wants it bad enough. They will do anything, whatever it takes. I did whatever it took to get there. If I didn't get there, I wouldn't be on this panel now. I wouldn't have met Project AWOL. I wouldn't have met any of those people. I wouldn't have nothing. None of that would have happened. So it all boils down to a decision. One decision will change your life, and that decision changed my life. So
that's phenomenal, man. I'm really glad you made it to Chicago so that you're on this panel, Antoine.
Yeah.
That's wild, man. Well, that's a good lead into to the second thing he talks about, and it's really the conquering theme, I think, from this audio, is that it's all about, at some point, getting all in, all the way means burning your bridges, deleting your plan B, realizing that what you have here, because I think once you have that certainty and you're ready to make that full commitment, then it truthfully is about getting all the way in, and recognizing that what you have here is the most powerful thing you can find on the internet. With this vehicle we have, it's all you need. So when he said, burn your bridges, delete your plan B, like, what does that mean for you guys? Dana?
Well, for me, it meant giving up some of this extraneous stuff that I was involved in. I mean, I'm a real ADD person. I do about 10, 15 things at once, and I'm an overcommitted volunteer, basically. And so I had to really prioritize my time and figure out, what do I have to cut out? Because when you're all in more ways than just the company or the products. We're not talking about that. We're talking about being mentally all in. I mean, are you focused on this business? Or are you splintering yourself out in a million directions? I'm not saying you can't live your life, but I'm saying I had all these other commitments. I had to let some stuff go. I had to make a decision. I had to prioritize. And that's hard for me to do sometimes. It's really hard for me to do. But I was really overcommitted, and I wasn't focusing. Like I said, the first 6 months in the business, I screwed around, basically. I wasn't committed to it. And then I realized, if this is going to happen, it's up to me. There is nobody else that's going to do this but me. So I reprioritized stuff. I quit buying crap, and I committed to the program. And it's changed everything. I mean, it's changed everything. Right after Austin, totally changed. Business turned around.
Austin was where that turning point really happened for me too. And they were so good in that event, especially at aligning that the message there with achieving that certainty, right? That belief in what we have here, that it's all you need. Because I mean, it's such a common problem in our industry to just be kind of dipping your toes in different things, never being fully all the way in. And it's something that plagues so many people. It's like, Antoine, did you go through that stretch too, where you? I mean, or was Empower Network? Did you go through that stretch where you struggled and you were kind of half in and half out of things before you found Empower? Or what's your story?
Yes, absolutely. I was like that probably for about 3 years. In and out, in and out, in and out. Shiny ball syndrome constantly. And I just it never ended. It never seemed like it was going to end. I was like, okay, what's the next stupid thing? What's the next global domain crap that I was a part of, and all this other junk? A lot of this stuff was garbage.
The industry kind of capitalizes on it too, right? They know there's people out there dipping their toes in things, and so there's a new thing coming out. It's maybe the best piece of advice the three of us can give, besides, what we have is all you need, is you need to get rid of that. You need to not allow those distractions to be distractions to you, and stick with one program. Sorry, Antoine, I kind of cut you off there.
No, it's fine. But I mean, they're right. Once I got into this, I was like, why the heck would I want to? What the heck would I want to do anything else for? Literally, I don't want to do anything else because I don't feel the need. Not just because I don't feel the need to. I don't feel there's anything else better than this. Literally. I could go Shiny Ball Syndrome all out right now if I wanted to, but that would be stupid. That would be such a stupid decision to make. It would probably ruin everything. Me personally, because definitely you're not all in if you're all out. So that's true.
You're talking about belief, having 100%
Absolutely.
belief, and Vic talked about that on the tape. He watched Empower for a while. He sat back. He had other online businesses, and he had a very large group of people, and he sat back and watched them. But he went to his very first event, and that's when he realized, okay, this is it. I'm 1,000% in. He's like all in, because he realized this is the vehicle. He realized Dave and Dave, geniuses. This is the way I want to go. He said he had to get the belief first, and he got the belief, and then he just went all the way, you know. And I think there's a lot of people like that. They go to their first event and it totally like it changed you, Antoine. Changed you too, Adam. You know, it just that's what happens. And a lot of his tape was talking about the events, because that's where the magic happens for a lot of people. That's where the flip happens for a lot of people. Totally getting all in, totally getting in your mind the belief that, yes, this is where I need to be. There's a reason I got here. The other stuff is crap. Cut it out of your life and just go focus, focus, focus. And Dave says it all the time. Focus, people. You know, I mean, the
he does. They
really
they really pound that home, like that. And then Vic is a great example of someone who didn't come in with his mind in a million different places. He had the intentions he needed. His mind was in the right place, so he came in and he did. I think in his first 30 days, I mean, he out earned Dave and Dave.
Yeah.
And I think it was in December that he came in, and I mean, it's a perfect example of someone who had everything aligned. You know, his mind was in the right place. He had his foundation in the right place, right? Yeah. And then he was able to just take off.
Yeah. Exactly.
So what he talks about after, you know, that second step of burn your bridges and make sure you delete your plan B and get all in. He talks about defining crystal clear goals. Having really clear goals. And this, again, is something that, especially in the beginning, I wasn't setting. And it's obviously something you have to have. You got to have goals. It's like if you're, you know, if you look at this as a journey, if you don't know where you're going and you just get started out, you pretty much aren't going to know where to steer the ship, right? So you've got to have those goals very clear. And he talks, too, about it being more than a matter of just writing them down. Visualizing your goals is important. If you can't see it, it doesn't exist.
Right.
I know, Dana, I'm sure you recall that part. What kind of an effect in hearing just that part of the audio? What did that have on you?
Well, I've rewritten my perfect day and rewritten my goals recently. Redid it. I mean, you know, we're constantly redoing something. Redid it, and when they're in front of you and you're actually reading them, you can see yourself. You can visualize yourself. I was thinking about this the other day. I was in another company before Empower, and I'd gone to their last conference, and I'm sitting in the audience with a group of people, with a team there, you know, and I could not see myself on that stage. There was something missing in my heart, and I just couldn't see myself. If I could not see myself on the stage as a top earner, then it wasn't going to happen, because I couldn't visually see it. And that's why I got out of it. I mean, obviously I got out of that, and then I floundered around for all this other stuff. But, you know, if you can't see yourself doing it, then how's it going to happen? Because it's just like they talk about, you know, an architect sees the building before he, you know, does all the drawings. You have to see, you have to visualize it. That's what the thing, I think some people, there's a missing piece there, because maybe a person doesn't really quite see that they really could be on the stage as a leader. I mean, people want to see their stuff up there, but do you really visualize yourself up there? Really and truthfully? Do you really? Seeing up there, talking to Dave, getting a check, do you really, really see it? I think some people don't.
I think that's, oh man, that's really powerful. I think you're exactly right on. Antoine, what do you think about that?
Oh my goodness. That is, yeah, you did. You did, because I'm going to tell you this. You really did. Talking about you can't see yourself. The crazy thing about that is, I don't know how many times I've stood in front of the bathroom mirror or walking around my living room talking as if I'm speaking in front of the crowds of the 5,000-6,000 people.
Well, that's awesome.
At the events that we've been at. I do that like at least like 4 times a week, literally. And sometimes I cry because I actually get emotional, like I'm getting into it. You know what I mean? Awesome. It's so crazy because I can see myself there. I can see my mother and father sitting out in the audience.
There you go. There's the key.
You know,
yep.
That right there is powerful stuff.
Yeah, it is, because it's in your heart then. It's right in your heart. There.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can see myself getting so fired up
Mhm.
and like just looking at everybody and just
Mhm.
being in the moment, literally being in the moment.
In the
And
moment. Yep.
and I never was like that so much as now. The way I am now since I joined.
Mhm.
It's crazy. It is.
That's cool. That's really cool, Antoine.
Yeah.
That is really
Yeah.
cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, the power of visualization is
Mhm.
so much something too. Even before I was introduced to Empower Network, I'd never really even had that being impressed on me. And it's something they make very clear in this business, in the products especially. They show, in the one of the other products, the first training is all about setting your intention and getting really clear and visualizing that goal,
Mhm.
writing it down, and seeing yourself actually realize it, which is, again, visualization is just something I think, yeah, very few people actually go that far with their goals, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
and another thing then he talks about as the fourth thing is your environment. So surrounding yourself with the right people,
Mhm.
and filling your mind with the things, with the right influences, because again, so many people in their lives have a hard time surrounding themselves with people that are actually going to be trying to uplift them and
Mhm.
realize their dreams, right? Push them in that direction. So it's so important that you're getting yourself doing whatever it takes to get in the right environments. And
Remember the part? I'm sorry to interrupt,
yeah,
but
go
I
ahead.
just remember Vic, he's like never ever complain, never ever. I mean ever. I
Yeah.
mean he was on it, and so I'm sure he's instilling this in his family because no, don't complain about the weather, don't complain about the food, don't. He didn't say any of that, but I'm just saying when you start doing that as a habit, because so many people that we're around in work situations and whatever where we're group around, oh, isn't it hot today? Man, man, I gotta mow the yard. It's just always there's a complaint. There's a negative component to so many people's just normal conversation. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just there. It's built in. Complain about the weather. Complain about you don't have enough this. Complain about you know, and I remember one of the guys on our team, Ben Brilliant. He did a post one time. I'm thinking it was a while back, but he did a post about see if you can go for 24 hours and not complain about something. And so I tried to do
Right.
it. I tried to do it. You know what? I couldn't do it. It's ridiculous. But I found myself, it just kept coming out. So if that happens, you have to start over then. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's your first minute again. So anyway, I didn't continue with that challenge to myself. But you know what? That's a challenge we all ought to take because stuff comes out of our mouth and we don't even realize it's negative. I mean, even if a little
Mm-hmm.
component of it is negative. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he was ranting about never ever ever complain. Nothing negative. Nothing negative. There's something positive in everything we do. The stuff that happens to us happens for a reason. You were given that challenge for a reason. Something bad happens to you, there's a reason that's happening to you. That's a lesson you're learning. You're learning
Absolutely.
from that. So don't complain about it. It's a gift. There's a reason that happened. I mean, sorry, I'm kind of going on with
Oh,
this, but
I think that's
what? It
that's
is.
really
It's
that's really
true.
great stuff. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the industry we're in too, struggle. This isn't to say that there aren't going to be times where you're struggling, but it's a part recognizing that that's all part of the process,
Yeah.
and right, and then taking ownership of it and looking
Hmm.
at everything. I liked another thing, and he didn't say it this way, but I've heard so many of the other leaders say this, that there's no such thing as failure, just feedback. So if you're looking at everything that's happening as you're growing your business, the inherent challenges that come up, because it's inevitable. This is why those other things are important, like finding your why. If you have a really strong why, then these challenges as they come up will seem, you'll look at your situation and remember why you're doing this, the real
Hmm.
reasons you're doing this, and that'll get you past these struggles. There's always a way for you to frame what's in front of you in a positive way. Is a
Hmm.
really good way of saying, yes, struggle is inevitable, but it's about keeping the right mindset. Right, Antoine?
Absolutely right. Me being a former automotive technician working on cars, I'm sure you've the struggles and the frustrations that I've been through. I definitely can relate to that, and the
Well,
complaining
like
aspect too.
Yeah.
Well, like when you mess up, that's how you learn. I mean, what if you
Right?
never mess up? I mean, how do you learn? I mean, how do kids
Yeah,
learn? They mess up, you know,
that's
so then
right.
they take that lesson. And, you know, I think a lot of people, like Adam said, is we beat ourselves up. You know, oh, geez, I'm a failure. I tried this solo ad. It screwed up. You know, I tried this. I tried that. Man, I lost a bunch of money. Oh, you know?
Right. It's
I've
easy
lost
for a
plenty of
lot of
money.
people. It's easy for a lot of people too to blame others, right? Like instead of taking ownership, that's sort of a way to respond negatively too, is to put the blame everywhere else rather than looking at yourself and taking ownership of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that was really powerful one for me. The environment, you know, and here's the cool thing about our community. You're always just a click away with our community. You know, we jump on these hangouts. It's literally the click of a button. You can surround yourself with people that can immediately bring you out of whatever funk you're in. You know, in these inner
That is
circles,
so true. That
these
is so
audios,
true.
you can just turn them on. It's the
Yeah.
same idea. You're never far away from the leadership you need in any moment where you sense yourself kind of getting off track.
Yeah.
That's right.
So powerful to have that.
I was listening to one last night. There's 5 people, and one of the guys said, "You know what? We're creating an asset here. Do you guys realize that?" And you know, I don't think people realize that. This is content. We are creating an asset here because we are actually discussing part of our business, and this is an asset that is now created that we, but other people can leverage this if they find it valuable. They can promote this. So. I mean, like Adam said, these Hangouts are fabulous. I mean, I love this technology, and I mean, I wish more people would do it. It's really cool. I love it. I think it's really, really great.
That's right. I agree with that. You know, you got to get out your little comfort zone of not being
Mm-hmm.
wanting to be in front of a camera, which
Mm-hmm.
is nothing to me. I don't care. You know, like I said before, you know, I feel comfortable in front of a camera. I don't care who's looking at me. I don't care if I'm in front of a stage in front of 10,000 people. You know, that's just me because I embrace that. You know what I mean? You got to get by that and
Mm-hmm.
start giving some value to people like we're doing right now. You
Were you
know,
always
get
like
on
that,
camera.
Antoine? Were you easy in front of a camera? I mean,
Yeah, I as far back as I can think. You
mm-hmm.
know, I've never, I don't, you know, of course my heart will pound and stuff in certain situations because I care about the situation.
Uh-huh.
That's normal. But I'm not gonna freeze up. You know, it feels right. You know.
That's a good kind of stress. What do they call that? Like eustress, I think, is the
Yeah.
stress where it's like, you know, you mean anytime you know that there's something I wouldn't say at stake, but it's something really meaningful in your life, and you're kind of
Yeah.
on display. You're gonna feel some nervousness, but I think that's really good
Right.
stress, you know. But some people
Absolutely.
manage it well, and others don't, and I think that's one thing I've really loved about doing hangouts like this. I'm getting more comfortable telling my story, being in front of people. It's really powerful. You too, Dana?
Oh yeah. I mean, Adam, I'm glad you pushed me to do some of these because at first I really didn't want to. And you know, we praise each other and we say that we're. Sorry, my phone was going off there. We praise each other and say, "Oh, God, you did really good on that hangout," and I'm like, "Oh, really? I don't know if I did." Hey, stop the negative. Stop the negative. Because really, we are providing content here, and you know, maybe there's just one person that hears a little nugget out of there, and if you start thinking of, we're in the helping business, we're in the service business. I mean, we're in the
That's
people
right.
business, but one little thing that Antoine said, or one little thing that Adam said, if somebody happens to be on this tonight and hears it, and it has a breakthrough for them, and they go on to the next door, hey, it was all worth it to me.
Yep.
It was totally worth it. I
That's
mean,
why there's no other business I'd rather be in than a coaching business where, like you're saying, one
yeah,
thing you share can change someone's life.
Yep.
Think about that.
absolutely,
It's so
absolutely.
cool.
It's crazy because I continue to get on the Hangouts and I continue to get inspiration and transformations constantly. You know, like I heard a saying a while back. You know, you weren't the same you were an hour ago or 5 minutes ago. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I wasn't the same before I got on this Hangout. You know, because I'd never really told anybody that story about how I got to Chicago and what I had to go through until now.
Are you kidding?
You know, besides the select individuals that were amongst me at the time when we were going through it,
It's such a
but nobody
powerful
else
story.
knew. Nobody else knew that.
That's a
Wow.
powerful. It's a powerful story. You haven't even done a video about it.
That's crazy. All these videos I haven't done a video about it.
Oh, okay. You got to do one on that. That's a good one.
I'm really
See,
glad you shared it
insight.
with
Thank
us,
you.
Antoine.
Thanks.
And actually, we'll actually wrap this up with the next thing you shared, which is, all right, you've got your environment right, you've got your vision, your mind's in the right place, and then it's really all about taking massive action.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, going back to that first line where he was like, you can't be, looking for sunsets driving in the wrong direction. But once you know where you want to be, once you have that foundation, that and the right mindset, then you know which direction to go in, and it's just about taking massive action. And this is another one where I think so many people get in their own way. They're trying to be perfect. Like we're saying, like, it's not important to be perfect. It's important to be taking action, failing fast, and then correcting, right?
Yes.
Fail
Gold
forward.
nugget. That is a huge gold nugget right there. What
Yeah.
he just said, people.
Take massive action. So if you're watching us right now, I mean, the next step should be clear to you. If you're ready to make change in your life, you have a big vision, and you just haven't yet gotten all the way in. You've been maybe looking at a lot of things. You've been caught up with all these different shiny balls. You've been on the edge of the pool, just dipping your toes in. It's time to commit, and we have a community here in a vehicle that can literally launch you into whatever life it is that you want for yourself, and we'll lock arms with you and welcome you and lift you up. So I'll let you guys say some final words too, Antoine.
Adam's right. Initially, when I first joined this, I was still in the shiny ball because the shiny ball got me to this.
That's
Literally.
a good point.
It literally got me to this because I said, forget this crap over, I'm going to this. Thank God I'm here, and I embraced it and emptied my cup and kept emptying my cup along the way. Not just one time. I had to empty my cup several times. Okay, so you have something in front of you. There's an opportunity. Don't pass it by. Please don't pass it by. It's for you, not for me. I don't care. It's your decision. So what are you waiting for?
That's right.
Do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. Dana, you want to say something?
Well, the best time really is now, and I think like a year ago when we joined, Adam, I don't think these Google Hangouts were near as common. I mean, I remember maybe seeing Dave on them, maybe, but they're getting so commonplace now that we can share a message and get the message out to so many more people now with just regular people. We're just regular people in the company, moving forward, growing our own personal development and sharing the stuff that we learn with everybody. And what's so cool is that it's right in front of you. I mean, seriously, it's right in front of you. And our company's getting ready to launch a bigger piece. I don't know if you're going to talk about that a little, just for a hair second, Adam.
Yeah, and I come from a technology background, and just so everyone watching understands that while I think the personal development and the community aspects of this are unparalleled, we're also firmly a technology company, and what's launching in less than, 30 days, guys?
Yeah.
30, 40 days now?
Yeah.
Is a technology that's going to completely transform not just this industry, but anyone that's looking to build an audience online, that has an interest or a passion that they want to grow. I mean, this is literally, now we're a service provider for anybody that's looking to, build an audience and get traction online. And it's going to be grammar-proof, multimedia, user-friendly, 2-click to just publish whatever it is, whatever value you have to the world. This will be your platform. So exciting.
Right.
Are you guys pumped for that?
I am so far beyond pumped. When I saw that, I could not believe it. And me coming from my background, my mechanical background, I'm not too computer savvy, but I know how to work a computer good enough to use that.
Oh man, at that event,
So
wasn't that
awesome.
incredible?
It was crazy, man. I just couldn't believe it. And we were there witnessing history. So that's another thing why you have to get to the events. We were there.
Yeah.
At that historical moment.
That's
Were
true.
there. So a year from now, we're going to be like, yeah, we were there. Get to the event.
Get to the events.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, we'll wrap this up, guys. Thanks for being on the panel. You guys are amazing. This was
Thanks,
so
Adam.
powerful.
It's a lot
And
of fun.
Yeah,
to
thanks,
those of you
thanks,
watching,
guys.
you're in the right place at the right time. You have the right vehicle in front of you right now. It's just about taking the next step. Just click the button, get started with us. We'll see you on the inside. And until the next Hangout, cheers. Have a good one.
All right,
See you
Adam.
guys.
Thank you. Bye, guys.